spirit to avenge his loss. The ceremony this morning is a reenactment of an authentic Council of the Braves to select a new chief. The Indian warrior's upraised arm is a signal for silence. Silence and meditation is an important part of tribal ceremonies. After a moment of silence, while the tribe sat looking into the council fire and listening to the slow beat of the ceremonial drum, a warrior arises to pray to the great mystery. The warrior thirsted for a knowledge of God, yet he only knew the gods of the sun, the stars, the trees, certain animals, reptiles, and fire. He, therefore, began his ceremonies by seeking the goodwill of the good spirits and invoking the blessing of the great mystery. He often began his prayer by facing east, where days are born, then lifted his open hands toward heaven and prayed for the blessing of the east. He then faced south, where birds fly in the winter, and repeated his prayer. Then west, where the sun slowly brings the day to a close. Next he faced north, where the cold winds blow. Following this, he lifted his face to the sky in devotion to the sun, the giver of warmth, and to the happy hunting grounds where he believed he would go after death. Finally, he prayed to the earth, the mother of all living. Having thus prayed, he would return to his place at the council fire. Following the prayer to the great mystery, it was the custom of the warriors taking part in the council ceremony to smoke the ceremonial pipe. The use of the ceremonial pipe, sometimes called the peace pipe or the calumet, was held sacred by the Indians. Usually it was used in ceremonies of religious nature or in a ceremony of political or social significance. The decoration on the pipe's bowl and stem, and even the method of holding or passing the pipe on to the next person, held great ceremonial meaning. The pipe was never laid on the ground. To smoke it was a signal that the smoke made one think clearly and endowed him with great wisdom. In a ceremony such as this, the pipe was offered to each of the four winds, the sun, and the earth. In effect, this was an indication to these mysterious forces that they may take the first smoke. Sometimes this portion of the ceremony was performed by one warrior, sometimes by each. However it was done, each warrior took part in smoking the pipe. This was always done before any speeches were made or problems discussed. The golden eagle is the finest and noblest bird found in North America. He measures from 30 to 40 inches in height and has a wingspan from 7 to 7.5 feet. His war cry can be heard from Alaska to California. Because of the golden eagle's great strength and courage, the American Indian admired this bird and prized his feathers above all other ornaments. The most imposing of the chief's regalia was the war bonnet with its magnificent crown of golden eagle feathers. Song and ceremony accompanied the making of the war bonnet by warriors of the tribe, and a war honor was recounted upon each feather before it was placed in position. There were several methods by which the Indian warrior obtained eagle feathers, but regardless of how or where he accumulated them, he was not allowed, according to tribal law, to wear them until he won them by performing a brave deed. He had to appear before the tribal council, and if he was thought to be worthy, he was authorized to wear the feathers in his hair or on a war bonnet. These honors bestowed upon a warrior were called counting coup. A deed of exceptional valor, such as touching an enemy without killing him and escaping unharmed, was called a grand coup, and was rated more than one feather. Sometimes a tuft of horsehair or down was added to the tip of a feather to designate additional honor. The coup feathers of the American Indian can be compared to the campaign ribbons and medals worn by our modern soldier. A warrior would rather part with his horse, his teepee, or even his wife than lose his eagle feathers. To do so would to be dishonored in the eyes of the tribe. A war bonnet could could not be made without the consent of the warriors of the entire tribe, each of whom contributed his own plumes of honor, so that the war bonnet of the chief was not only a mark of personal distinction, but served as a record of the valor of the entire tribe. Many chiefs had won enough honors to not only wear a war bonnet, but also to carry a feathered lance to display additional feathers. This lance, or cue stick as it was called, was one of the proudest possessions of the warrior. It was a long, slender, highly decorated staff used by the warrior counting cue in battle, which means striking or touching an enemy. The highest honor went to the warrior who did not kill his enemy, but touched a living enemy with his hand or cue stick and escaped without himself being killed. Following the ritual of prayer and smoking of the ceremonial pipe, the business of the tribal council, that of selecting a new chief, was undertaken. Most Indian tribes used the democratic process of electing a chief and installed him at an impressive ceremony following the election. The actual installations of the chief varied from tribe to tribe. This particular installation makes use of the cue stick, the candidates, and the retiring chief of the tribe. As the retiring chief holds the cue stick high and at arm's length, it is gripped by each of the warriors. To eliminate a warrior from competition, the chief strikes each a heavy blow on the shoulder, after which they must remove their hands from the cue stick and step back. The two warriors remaining with the cue stick represent the chief of the warriors and his alternate. The next blow on the shoulder will eliminate the alternate from competition and leave the chief standing alone with the cue stick. At this moment during the ceremony, joyous shouts greet the new chief as he leaves the council fire to don his distinctive costume. The Native American woman was essential to the successful function of her tribe. While a tribe was traditionally led by a male chief, women and men were equally respected and collaborated on nearly every facet of the tribe's daily activities. In times of war, when the strongest warriors were absent from the rest of the tribe, it was the noble guidance of the elder women that ensured that order and harmony were maintained. Women were more than mothers and wives. They were craftswomen, huntresses, farmers, and warriors. Native Americans also believed that women were the most gifted spiritual healers. During healing ceremonies, one wise woman would lead the healing process. This process was believed not only to cleanse illness, but restore peace and serenity to the entire tribe. Tribal unity was an integral part of the Native American culture, and such healing ceremonies were performed every month. One wise woman would begin the ceremony by standing before the fire, adorned in the ceremonial necklace that designated her as the spiritual leader. It would be her responsibility to be spiritually cleanse the entire tribe and assign the next leader of the sacred ceremony. Before the next leader was chosen, each candidate would take the necklace in turn as the spiritual leader relayed the significant roles of Native American women that the new leader would represent. Before being a leader of the tribe, a woman was the leader of her home and family. The well-being of the family unit depended upon the support and responsibility of wife and mother. A woman took part in the building of the home and took on the task of nurturing all who resided within. A family without without her mother was incomplete. It was her presence that created a true, complete sense of security. She was the quiet strength that provided support for her children, her husband, and her tribe. As well as creating a stable home environment, a woman was also a master craftsperson, creating all home furnishings, clothing, and daily supplies. The relics of pottery, woven blankets, and jewelry that fascinate today's society were fashioned by well-trained hands of a Native American woman. The seasoned craftswoman possessed a variety of skills so that when any new task befell her, she could confront it with her vast knowledge and years of experience. No situation was beyond her area of expertise, and she never hesitated to meet any of the tribe's needs. At times, it was also a necessity for women to join their husbands and brothers in conflict. Whether the enemy be a rival tribe or a herd of buffalo, women often took part in hunting large game, and when the animal was harvested, she was in charge of cleaning, skinning, and cooking the animal for her tribe. Without her, the tribe would not eat, nor would they benefit from the other materials collected from the animal. Women were the selfless servants who placed their own needs second to the needs of their tribe. Only when the tribe was content would she proceed with her endeavors. It was this unselfish desire to provide for her tribe that earned a woman an honorable place amongst tribal members. In addition to caring for her family and her tribe, a woman was also a symbol of new life, making her the closest connection to the Great Mystery. During times of destitution and hardship, a woman was looked upon for her tenacity and strength, as well as standing for ingenuity and the new, brighter future that was on the horizon. It was she who interacted with the Great Mystery and could participate in the most sacred rituals, giving hope to the entire tribe. She provided consistency in uncertainty and always reminded others of the promise of a new tomorrow. Since a woman was believed to be the tribal member closest to the Great Mystery, she was often thought to be the wisest healer. Medicine women cared for ailing members of their tribes. Whether the wound be physical or spiritual, the Native Americans regarded spiritual health to be even more important than physical well-being and took great care to arrive at spiritual tranquility. Through her connection to the spirit world, a wise medicine woman soothed every illness of her tribe. They depended on her not just for material needs, but for emotional stability as well. Only she could unite the tribe in her healing ceremonies and eliminate any qualms, fears, or disputes. When all of the candidates had taken their turn holding the ceremonial necklace and learning of the important qualities for which they stood, they would return to their seats at the fire. The leader of the healing ceremony would then circle the fire, pacing behind each woman as she removed the necklace from her own neck. Her time as the leader having passed, she would then place the necklace on the candidate whom she and her tribe believed could take her place as the tribal healer, huntress, craftswoman, caretaker, leader, and warrior princess. Team 2020 Warrior Chief Danon Withrick, Warrior Princess Katie Mardig, Assistant Chief Joe Fidasco. And a special thank you to our 2018-2019 Warrior Chief Johnny Ross, Assistant Chief Alex Petcash, and Warrior Princess Brandy Syhawk.